Hello my lovelies and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be reviewing Young Gothic by M.A. Bennett, which is a book I've been meaning to talk about on the channel specifically since I read it probably around October time last year, and even now, like months later, it's still staying with me, and I realise I haven't actually had a proper good natter about it with you guys over on this channel. So we are following 4 young gifted creatives who have won the chance to enrol in this writing project called Young Gothic. They spend a beautiful week by the shores of Lake Geneva. An all expenses paid retreat to the Villa Diodati where everything Gothic kind of began. A little bit more from the description of the book. Whilst there, they stumble across the Phantasmagoriana. Inspired by a midnight fireside reading, each guest confesses their own worst fear in turn from in the darkest depths of their souls. In the coming days, the teen's summer is suddenly beset by mysterious happenings as the monsters they create begin to clamber out of their minds and into reality. Clinging together against the terrors that besiege them, group grow closer, but the dynamic is upset when Griffin's ex-girlfriend, Ketsuko, unexpectedly turns up at the villa. Events rise to a horrible climax when, on a dark and stormy night, one of the villa's guests is found dead. But who is responsible? One of the teens or one of the monsters they brought forth? Without a shadow of a doubt, this was a 5-star read for me. I thought it was such a clever book. I had an absolute blast reading this story and I never wanted it to end. Some of the twists and turns I predicted, but some of them I was absolutely stupefied by. Seeing Eve, Ren, Hal and Griffin sort of develop into this little found family was so charming to see, especially as they were coming into the story all with their own like demons and things that they just needed to work on. So to kind of open up and be vulnerable with each other was so rewarding to see. With Hal, his whole creative outlet is movie making, and I love that when we were reading his perspective we got to see everybody in his eye as kind of like the cast of a movie, right? So he was describing people as actors that haven't made it yet, such as Anya Taylor-Joy for example, and I was like, oh, she's one of my favorite actresses. I love that nod, do you know what I mean? Especially because it was set like a couple of years before now. It's modern, but it was like 2015 or something it was set in. It's charming and witty, and knowing that all these are actually quite big stars was just it just made me chuckle. It also was incredibly helpful to kind of getting a visual on these characters, at least stylistically. I love knowing kind of the outfits people are wearing, their kind of vibe and setup, especially when the story is called Young Gothic. I'm assuming we're going to have some Gothic designs, right? And we definitely had that within Eve, so it was just cool to be in that character's headspace who had that inkling towards like design and what's going to attract the camera, if you know what I mean. Following on from that a little bit, I also loved how Hal saw them as stereotypes from like the cabin in the woods specifically, but at the same time we had Eve who saw them as reenactments of the dead poets and compared events to the original works that the dead poets created. I thought it was a really cool kind of difference yet similarity in how everybody kind of had a role to play, and the way that both Eve was explaining that and Hal was explaining that in their different ways just really like drove the point home a little bit more. I do have a spoilery section where I talk a little bit more about things that were happening in terms of murders and things like that, and some character motives. So if you do want to read that, definitely go to my Storygraph or Goodreads to have a little delve into some of those thoughts there. But in terms of wrapping this video up, the atmosphere, the budding relationships, the background and deep dive into the psyche of our 4 main characters and so much more was just executed to perfection. I had the best time reading this. I'm so glad that a sequel is due to come out soon. I want to say, if it's not already out, I'm definitely going to be looking through the shelves for that one, because this just left me almost bereft that it was over. But yeah, that is my quick little review of Young Gothic by M.A. Bennett. Let me know if you have read it yourself and what you thought, and if you have any recommendations that have a similar storyline or vibe, like atmosphere, I would love to know. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in another video soon. Bye.